Hello, come on in. When I stepped into the home of the family Kalde, I could see photos of a small boy playing in the waves. Nothing in these pictures gives away the big tragedy that the family underwent 11 years ago when the parents found out that their seemingly very healthy boy, Ralf, had a serious genetic disease, Duchenne muscular dystrophy. For us, it was just a black hole. And I just looked up. How old was he? 3.5. So at the time he was running around, he was just a regular boy. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, he was a happy, normal child, jumping around, running around. But inside we knew that what his fate was going to be. This fate was tough. Young parents who went to the doctors because their son kept falling a lot were told that he was going to end up in a wheelchair and deteriorate. It was a big shock. It's a rapidly progressive muscular disease that ends in an early death. We were told that he would live for 15 years. We were just told that this is how things were, and life went on. How did life go on? We were in a shock for about a year, but I think that it took me 5 years to get used to the idea and to live on. Of course, you try to be strong during the day and play with the child, and in the evening you would just cry. There was no psychological support offered to young parents after this shock. And the steroids that were prescribed had an effect on Ralf. His mood changed. We lost our child in a year. He wasn't like he'd been before. He was aggressive and nervous. He used to be such a cute child. He would just come and sit on your lap. But he wasn't there anymore. Yes, unfortunately, this is what happened. Meet Henri. He's 7. He's running around and climbing like every 7-year-old boy, unlike Ralf did at his age. But also Henri's mom has known for 4 years that his son has Duchenne muscular dystrophy. According to the Estonian statistics, at the age of 12, they have to be in a wheelchair. Later, their lungs and heart will give up. So everything that needs muscular power will finish working. When you got the diagnosis, how did you feel? What happened? Did you just drive home, or did they offer you any psychological support? There was no support. They just told me the diagnosis. I was sitting there with my child at the doctor's office. I was crying my eyes out and thinking about how to get home. My lifeline was my sister. I called her from the car. Luckily, I had hands-free. If it hadn't been for her, to be honest, I'm not sure whether we would be here today with Henri, because this was a crazy journey back home. It was just one black hole. You were just driving and driving. None of us is protected in similar situations. Don't be fooled by the words rare. There are more than 6,000 different rare diseases, and there are more than 80,000 people with a rare disease in Estonia. Both families admit that after they received the diagnosis, they were left without any additional information, and new treatments available in the world weren't introduced to them. There were possibilities outside the EU. Some treatments had been licensed, but we were not told about it. What frustrated me was that we were said that, don't even look into it. Things are the way they are. There's no point in investigating things. But you did investigate. Of course we did. There is treatment. You can read about them online and you see the price tag. But when I tried to get them, they didn't sell these to me because you need support from the government. There is a high demand. So, but our state doesn't have the finances, doesn't have the will. 3 years ago, the Competency Center of Rare Diseases was founded, and the head of the center, Dr. Katrin Õunap, says that Estonian people are being discriminated against. We get the treatment among the last ones in the world, and it's difficult for our children to get into clinical trials. Such discrimination has lasted for a long time, and I'm not even sure when we will be taken as an equal partner. The new innovative treatment is often too expensive for our thin state. Then Professor Õunap thinks that we should especially make an effort to get our children into clinical trials so that they would get treated, which would save their lives. It's not a secret that patients from small countries are often refused. This is often because there are many people who want to get into these trials and they prefer patients from their own countries. So you did try to get to the trials. Yes, the nearest trial groups were in Poland and in Ireland. I would have just moved to Ireland with Henri. So I understand that you didn't get into the trial. It's difficult when you understand that you won't get into the trial. The families found out from the people organizing the trials that it's very expensive. And in addition to that, your child has to know the language spoken in the country. And this is not realistic when it comes to a small child. Do we want to help these children or not? I get the feeling that we don't. So this was the impression I got from this conversation back then. They weren't interested in getting a child into their trial who comes from a small country. For me, it was just discrimination against the child because the child was from Estonia. The transportation and all the other living costs would have been too expensive. Here you can see Ralf playing in the waves. Here he is running around in our country house. Here he is in Viljandi with a strawberry. Here he's flying a kite with his dad. The time when the treatment is started and damage stopped is crucial because it's very difficult to reverse the process of the disease. His situation got worse and worse. And when we look at the photos that were taken when he was a child, then it just made us feel horrible again. And then we stopped looking into the past. Let's ask from the Ministry of Social Affairs what they have done and what they are intending to do to stop the discrimination against the Estonian children. They don't take responsibility and send us to the Agency of Medicines. The Agency of Medicines has a regular contact with the representatives of pharmaceuticals, and we have discussed with them how important these clinical trials are for our patients and our doctors. So pharmaceutical companies are aware of this topic. Aware or not, but there are no positive results. Probably we haven't done enough, says Professor Õunap. This should be dealt with on the level of the Ministry of Social Affairs. In the EU, all countries should be represented equally, and our patients should also be involved in these trials. And then you hear on the news how the high officials in the Agency of Medicine pay high salaries to themselves and bonuses. So probably they just don't want to spend money on one little boy. By the way, at the moment there is one Estonian child in a clinical trial in Manchester, England. This is Robin, who is 11 months old. And he got the gene therapy only because Professor Onap knew the person carrying out the trial. This is Robin's mom. Today we were admitted to the hospital and will stay here, come what may. We don't want to be too afraid. Robin was diagnosed with a very rare Hurler syndrome when he was only 5 months old. His body doesn't produce an enzyme that would take waste out of cells. They look a bit like old people. Their skin and the tissue under the skin is a bit thicker. They have coarse facial features. They have a huge head, large belly because their organs are bigger. And a similar process takes place in the brain. Brain cells die, and this has an effect on their intellect. According to Professor Onap, children with this diagnosis who don't undergo treatment live up to the age of 7 years. Robin got lucky. They took the 40 cells from his body, repaired them, and took them back to his body. And if everything works out fine, he won't need any additional treatment during his life. So first, we'll start with chemotherapy in order to kill his immune system, and then his own repaired cells will be taken back to his body. The stem cells were harvested at the beginning of December, and they were sent to Milan. There, they did what had to be done with the cells, and now they sent the cells back. Such gene therapy would cost 3 million euros outside the clinical trials. By today, the stem cells have been transplanted and Robin feels fine, but he has to stay at the hospital for some more time. So it means that little Robin can lead a healthy life because of this therapy. Yes, little Robin has a high chance of leading a healthy life, live like a normal person. When it comes to Henri and Ralf, who didn't get into trials, then over the past 2 months, both have been getting an innovative medicine, but not with the help of the government, but with the help of Children's Foundation at the University of Tartu Hospital. According to Professor Onap, Henri probably won't end up in a wheelchair, and also Ralph's situation will improve. The families are moved to tears because of this unexpected help. All these years, I kept thinking that we would get this treatment, we won't give up. And he's been getting it for 3 months already. Is it possible that he will get out of the wheelchair? It is possible. We have to believe. He can walk. We support him because we are afraid of him falling. We don't let him try. It was like a jackpot. It was incredible. One day you just read the letter sent from your doctor, and then the next day you are a millionaire because you've hit the jackpot because your child has got the treatment.
Aitäh kõigile asjaosalistele, kes